What's up, team? Welcome back to another webinar, High Performance Trader. Today, we're going to break down into a lot of topics that I think are really critical, crucial, key factors to not only developing consistency, but to actually follow your process, right? So over trading has been a very, very big issue for a lot of traders for a long time. And I think it's critical that today we dive into some of the main factors that I see in my trade journal that led to a lot better week this week than the week before is I took not a lot of trades. I mean, there were some days I took one trade. Right here, 12-5 Tuesday, took one trade. Monday took two. Well, I took two trades. But most importantly, when I take a losing trade, I don't revenge trade. I do not make another setup. I sit back. I don't care what the market looks like. I've made it a big rule for me. If I get in on a trade, right, like Friday, I took this trade below end of day, right here on this little quick retest of end of day, which obviously looked terrible. But I took this short, stomped out very quickly, one trade, done. Walked away, right? I end up putting on another trade later in the day for very low size. But your ability to walk away when you make a losing trade is critical. We got to remind ourselves why we're here, right? We got to remind ourselves what we're here to do. We're not here to be right. We're not here to get the best trade of the day. We're not here to just make all these little like revenge trades, like keep trying to get that winning feeling back, right? So we're gonna dive into that today, and just and flesh it out, talk about why it's good, why it's bad, and if anyone has any other feelings, right, we're gonna break it down. So welcome to the webinar. What up, Debo?
Doing really good. Excited to break down the trades this week, and this is another good week. I like what you said about rewarding yourself and also not kicking yourself if you make a bad setup and need to just walk away from the markets, even if you're just watching the markets, but realizing that, if you fuck up, which is inevitable, obviously we protect our losses, but then realize our susceptibility to revenge trading.
Yes.
And to that feeling of needing to be right. And if you realize that you're snapping into that, it is completely okay to just walk away from the markets or just say you're not going to trade for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That is completely fine.
Yeah.
And we need to, it's totally a thing that the confidence takes a hit, after you take a couple losing trades.
It's a fact.
That is not something that, that is just what we do. I see many, many successful traders do exactly the same thing. And there's a reason they do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also having criteria on days when you don't trade. Like if the setups are not
No, absolutely. Absolutely. First thing I want to talk about Monday, right? Monday. No, hold on.
Real quick, while that's loading, this week, for the last couple weeks, it's been kind of sideways price action. To be honest, we've been trapped inside these zones.
Yeah.
And a big thing for me too has been, not thinking about what the overall conditions are, but just playing what I can.
What's in front of me?
Switch up my strategy.
Yes.
While we're within a zone, I have the capability to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't just trade price action the way that we want it to be traded. We have to react to what is in front of us right now.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and it's crazy. Anytime, Darren, like I'm putting all these external factors into my analysis, right? Like I start to make irrational decisions. So I love what you brought up, right? It's not what you think's going to happen off this level, right? It's what's happening in front of you. And I had a couple people message me today, right? And they're really new to the strategy, and they're like, they seen buyers defend open print, they went long, right? They had a great trade, they were pumped. They're like, it felt uncomfortable, right? Because we were, I don't know, in a supply zone or whatever it was. He's like, but he goes, but sitting back, being objective, going, okay, buyers are defending the open, I'm going long, right? So like, it's just really cool to see. I love seeing it. but it's like, okay, like I'm only going to trade what's in front of me. I'm going to avoid looking at all those other things, right? So this was Monday. I made one trade today on Monday, and it was below previous day low. Let me pull up SPX. Wasn't even like the most prettiest, craziest, most beautiful trade, but it was what we call a base hit. Like these are the trades we want to take because they're part of our strategy, right? Like when you're trading your strategy, you're not always going to find these slam dunk trades that that have all these different beautiful moves and returns. They're going to be relatively simple, right? So previous day low SPX was 45555 or right around there. Very similar on SPY. Only thing I'm not super proud of this trade I took was I didn't get a very clean retest off previous day low. Seen a lot of selling way below previous day low. Price rallied up very quickly. Now it's crazy how I took this trade. As you can see, it wasn't anything super pretty or amazing, but it was just filled with conviction, like. And this is just something I'm working on as a trader, is like if conditions are moving in a certain way, what do I need to see to put on the trade, right? Now, the first thing I missed was this break of structure right here. So this right here, I always ask myself, right, because sometimes I find myself catching the very low end of these moves, which is completely fine. But what I really want to show here is how SPY was making this bullish structure. This is what I look for every single day, right? Every day. Buyers defend the open. Okay. We don't get a retest on the open, so I sit back. And now I'm going, okay, at what point is price going to reverse? And now this is where it reverses. Now, once again, if I'm going to trade a reversal, I need a good area to stomp out, right? So, like, I want to make it really clear. Like, I trade reversals all the time. I just trade them a lot differently than I used to, right? Instead of going short, for me to trade a reversal, I got to wait for a break and a retest of structure, right? And that was a very good it was a very good example here on this trade, right? We came up, retouched structure. Now, we were still well above open print, and we got a lot of buying off open print. So this isn't a place that I really would go short. And then price started to break down below previous day low. And this was the trade I put on. Once again, not the fanciest trade, but I had tons of conviction going. Hold on. Let me look at something real quick. So this is where it gets kind of weird. Darren, let me show you something real quick. Now, I took this trade on the 5-minute time frame, right?
Okay.
You see this wick right here on the 5-minute?
Yep.
This is at the 1025 candle. When I seen this go up green, right? This candle was green and then started to retrace. That's where I entered the trade. Now, if I pull up the 2-minute, I can't find, and maybe that is it. I can't find the wick on the 2-minute. Is that it?
No, it's there. 1032.
Okay.
1032. Yep,
That's got okay. So yeah, I've been really focused. I've been using the 5-minute a lot lately. I find when I use the 2-minute, at times I take irrational trades. Now that's based on my trading results, right? Not anybody else's. So, and that's another thing, right? You guys are going to hear me, Darren, talk about like strategies, time frames, right? What works for us. Now, what works for me may not always work for you. So if you like the 2-minute, that's great. But if you're noticing yourself taking trades that really are kind of irrational on the 2-minute, go ahead and try the 5-minute. And that's one thing I did this week. It worked really good. But yeah, that's the candle. But see, that's the 1025 candle. So if that's the 1025 candle that goes until 1030, I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
1032. 1032 is in there, yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. But yeah, so that was the trade I put on. And then let me break down where I got out. Once again, got out based on structure. Price came down, broke below. This was about a 60-cent move. Paid about 24% return. Bam, right? Like, that's a phenomenal trade to me, right? Super simple, base hit, locked in profits, didn't put myself in a vulnerable scenario, stomped out based on structure. It was part of my pre-market plan, right? All these different things that we've been really focusing on and met the criteria, other than the retest, which I did document and break into. So that was my trade, right? And then I really want to point out here, though, one thing I've noticed a lot is when we break below a key level, notice when we end up like where I stomped out, right? Shift in market conditions. And once again, the criteria for stomping out is structure. So if structure breaks and buyers defend structure, we get a beautiful move up right in the previous day low. And now, if sellers defend this, awesome, right? Cool. But if they don't defend it, that is a really bullish indication, right? That's another tool of mine that I use a lot, is like those if-then statements. If sellers defend this, I like shorts. If not, I like longs. So it's like structure breaking down here below previous day low. We get this higher low, and then we break previous day low, get that nice little retest. That right there would have been another beautiful trade to the upside, right? And once again,
I know some guys on the Discord took that, and props for that. That was great in noticing conditions changing.
Yes.
Right
there. Yeah. It's like,
I did not take that, but that was a great trade.
Yeah, exactly. And what I love about this right here is it's like this whole move happened in the morning. Sometimes we come up with these rules in our head where we have to take the morning trade. We have to take the morning session, right? That's all bullshit. You do not have to do anything. All you have to do is understand what's in front of you and make money off it. So if you miss all this move, and we have to remind ourselves, it's okay to miss these moves because other opportunities show back up. Like, we're in the business of capturing the market imbalance. If the imbalance goes down, it can also go right back up. You know what I'm saying? So this was a really good example of that right there. I mean, beautiful up.
Another thing that's cool to notice about that long breaking through previous day low. So I took a short off previous day low. You can see on the 2-minute we rejected previous day low.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a little bit of a break and retest off of that level. So that's where I took a short, extremely tight stop. And it's so crazy how your stop outs, technically, if the conditions are changing and bearish conditions are invalidated, technically that is a great opportunity for a long right there.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that your stop outs generally are going to be a great opportunity to take the market long. And it totally makes sense if you choose, not to just reverse your position and go long.
Yeah.
I psychologically tried it to not do that. But, it's just cool to notice that when those bearish conditions are invalidated,
yeah, exactly. And it's like that Dr. David Paul said, right? It's like if you're trading in a critical level or an area of value, it's going to go one way or the other, right? So if structure breaks, that's a leading factor of, okay, large money is doing this here, right? And it's like, so if I get stomped out on a trade like that, just like you said, it's like, okay, I didn't lose. I was at the right level. Smart money is just doing something different. And it's just like really validates the belief of we're just here to understand what they're doing, right? And we do this off the levels. So really cool how once previous day low broke, look at the volume too. Once it broke, it just only made sense to go all the way up to the highs. So that was really, really, just love seeing that right there. I like it because it really validates the point that you do not have to catch the morning session. The next day was a really awesome day, right? I feel like we've been seeing a lot of these pops above hold on, let me find it. So this blue line. Oh, hold on. Oops. Okay, hold on. Let me do it over here. Make this bigger. Whip out the 15-minute real quick. Get rid of some of these yellow lines.
Tuesday was a great trade off of open print.
Oh, dude, it was phenomenal. And one thing I loved about this trade, right, is going into the trade, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a lower low, meaning I need to see price get below previous day low, which was down here at 45437. So just like we use these higher lows, lower lows on lower time frames, we got to use them on higher time frames as well, because it's literally the exact same behavioral pattern. So if we can't get a lower low, that's pretty bullish. This is demand, right? We call it demand because buyers are showing strength at this level. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to see here to play a move up to end of day and previous day high? And I put it right in the pre-market plan. I was like, I'm looking for buyers to defend open print and previous day low. So, hold on. That wasn't previous day low. Let me just go like this real quick. Okay. So I really like seeing these rejections out of demand, right? Once again, buyers showing strength. And instead of just longing this out the gate, I'm like, okay, where's open print? And where can I get in this with a low risk trade? Now, prior to this week, me and Darren were talking. He's like, and I think we talked about it last week. He's like, if I see my strategy, I'm going to take it. I am going to take it. I need to reward myself for the skills that I've developed to be able to identify buyers defending this level, right? So I was like, okay, we're coming out of demand, couldn't make a lower low. Open print's been established. What I really liked about this, going back to what we were just talking about with structure breaking, sellers were trying to defend this. So I was looking at this as if I was in a short play. I was like, if I'm in a short play, at what point am I stopping out? And obviously, it's a break above open print. So if that's invalidating bearish conditions, that means I must trade bullishly. And that was it. Price literally came down. Once this 2-minute candle held and closed above open print, I was willing to put on risk. This candle started to go green. I put the trade on long. My stop was this candle right here, the low of it. Because once again, just like I did previously, I was like, at what point am I going to know buyers don't have this structure, right? And to me, that was open print. That was down here at 455.16, right? 30-cent risk. It's all I was willing to take. And then price popped, started to retrace a bit. Now, going back to profit taking, I'm only going to take profit. Well, see, in this scenario, it's kind of touchy because we haven't had a big enough move away from your entry yet to really bump up your stop. Yeah, this was a 50-cent move, but that I'm looking to capture the move up to end of day, which was at 457, and then previous day high above it. So I wasn't willing to bump my stop up yet. I had my same stop in, and then that news came out, and this thing just popped, rallied right into previous day high. It was a really, really good trade. I really like this trade. I didn't get the market fill I wanted. I'm sure some of you guys also had issues like that on Tuesday. I think it was due to volume. But at the same time, I followed my trade plan to a T. I followed my process. This was a massive win. These are the trades I want to see every day. These are obviously it was a picture perfect open print retest, but at the same time, I followed my pre-market plan. I had a clear spot to stop out. I took profits when I was supposed to, right in the target. This fit all my criteria. This was a perfect trade, if you ask me.
Yeah, I love this one. Also, check out those bullish engulfing candles blasting through open print, and then after that retest, those two huge bullish engulfing candles are seriously bullish.
They look the same.
The way that I look at this is, you already have conditions because we moved out of demand really quickly, and we could not make a lower low. We made a higher low out of demand. So that's conditions there. You got your conditions. Now you just need a critical level to place your stop loss, which was open print.
Yep.
Plus, we had those bullish candles coming out of there. It was a beautiful setup. Even if there was no news, that was still a great setup. News just added to it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is when it pays to trade options. With that volume that came in right there, contracts just went absolutely ballistic.
Yeah, the premiums. And it's like this is and this is like this trade I stared at so much this week because I was once again just so I was very happy with my ability to stick to every single one of my metrics that I need to see to put on a trade. Right. And like, we could sit here and talk analysis all day and talk XYZ, but if you aren't figuring out where your execution isn't doing well, you're not going to make progress. Like so many times we confuse analysis with good, consistent results, right? And we have to remind ourselves to put on a winning trade takes literally nothing. And all you have to do is click a button, right? And enter a position and get lucky. So it's like we must identify what we can and cannot control. And this trade was a perfect example of trading with the criteria we need to be able to see consistent results, right? Like, perfect stop out. Darren, it's crazy. Both these candles were 50 cents. Nuts.
Yeah.
Perfect 50-cent move.
Where would you put your where would you move your stop up to? So I like what you said about not moving your stop up yet. So once we got that big news candle, that's where I moved my stop up to break even. And then after that, then I moved up to my 1 to 3 risk, and it stopped me out very quickly because of that premium. The contracts were just ripping back and forth. So it came down really quickly and hit my 1 to 3. But
no, it's a perfect.
I think it's important to talk about when you move your stop up. When you move your stop up to break even, and when you move it to your 1 to 3 risk to reward.
So this is one of those scenarios, right, where I was targeting end of day, I was targeting previous day high. Anytime we get a massive move like this, the market has to level out. You know what I mean? So I use that 9-day to really gauge how extended we are from leveling out, because one of the big things I'll use to stay in a trade is if we're above the 9-day EMA, right, and holding structure, I'll stay in the trade. Now, this is the only reason I use a moving average, but it really helps me understand, listen, at this point, I am almost $1 away from my criteria to stay in this trade. I'm not willing to risk $1 pullback right now. I hit my target. I just took the trade, right? I literally market ordered out of this position once we rallied in the previous day high, right? So it's like we have to be able to understand what sort of environment we're in, because you guys know I'm really big on taking profits based on structure. But at the same time, if price rallies right into your target, there's nothing wrong with taking it. Book it. On to the next, right? And what I like about it is it kind of opens up the idea of process only. I hit my target, check, on to the next, right? I mean, this thing could have continued to rally, and I was okay with that, right? What I wasn't okay with was $1 pullback eating into those premiums big time. So that's kind of what was going through my mind at this point, right? I had my options chart up. This thing rallied. And once that came in, I literally, and there's a couple different ways to do it, right? You can grab your options, your hard stop, and move it all the way up. I just ordered out on my phone, and market ordered out, and didn't get the fill I want. That could have been a reason why, but yeah, that's how I did it, Debo.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
It's just, that was, and look, it's crazy. The market literally ended up coming back down, tagging that 9, right? Making a play, structure formed off pre-market, and then started to rally. I actually ended up hopping back in this trade.
Monday, perfectly with that pullback on that break.
Yeah. All right, hold on. My bad. I'm having some audio issues today, man. It's been pretty rough. That was it though. Is there any other trades you want to talk about on this day, Debo? Okay. Yeah. I mean, and you can see it. Look, I ended up just kind of. I really just want to point out right here, though. Price came right back down to open print and respected it extremely well. So, I mean, guys, open print is a cash register if you can trade it properly. If you can learn to trade the open properly, not the opening market, not the first 15 minutes. I'm talking this level. If you can learn to trade open print, yeah, that was it. Open print properly. It really is it gives you a very clear understanding of the conditions of the market. I love seeing it. That was beautiful. All right, we're going to move on to the next here. Let's see. Damn. All right, next day, Wednesday. Now this day was really so massive move up, right? Massive move up pre-market. Let me just get all my levels marked out real quick so we could do this properly, because this day had a lot of value hidden. Let me see. So that's an EOD. Previous day high, always playing a vital role. And then previous day low. I mean, this is what we talk about with imbalances. I think Darren said it in the beginning. We traded in a tight range well, I wouldn't call it tight, but they're definitely a range this week. You know, it's our job to be able to use the levels to be able to capture moves in between those. Okay. All right, so this was my first trade of the day. It was a move into previous day high. So this was a very structured, kind of more calculated move. I don't usually take moves like this, but I used what pre-market level was it? Hold on. Okay, so I used this level pre-market, right? So we get that massive selling in the morning, kind of rejecting that upper supply zone. And I'm like, okay, massive sell below it. I was like, if we could get a retest at this 452.20 level, or I'm sorry, 458.20, I'm willing to take the market short, targeting previous day high, right? So once again, not one of my go-tos, but at the same time, I'm using this level to dictate the conditions of the market and capture a move down to a critical level, right? So using all the tools we have, we rip into it. Right when this candle give me some indecision and closes red, I enter the trade. My stop is now above 458.22. I think I called out in the Discord 458.30. And then we sunk right in the previous day high, and I once again just took profit. See, this is like, you have to ask yourself, are you here for every trade? Isn't going to be a trend trade. Every trade isn't going to be a massive slam dunk, right? Like 100, 200%. And coming off last week, based on my trading results, it was my goal to really just book profits when targets hit. And that's one thing I want to point out is everyone goes through their own journey, right? If you're struggling with taking profits and you stay in trades for way too long, give back a lot of money, maybe you should go, okay, when I hit my target this week, I'm going to book profits. Or if you're struggling with taking profits too fast, right? Anytime you make 10, 20, 15% and just take them, then maybe you should move towards a more structured approach to taking profits. See, it's all about where you're at as a trader, right? I really just kind of want to flesh that out. It's like based on my current results and my metrics last week, I wanted to see myself taking profits at target. So that's what I did. I really think trading is all about becoming, identifying where your weaknesses are and attacking them. So that was my goal. So that's what I was willing to do, right? It was like, okay, caught a beautiful little, what is that, like a 90-cent move. Loved it. Then we got that beautiful retest off previous day high. And then the market just really started to sink, right? So that was my next trade right here. Bam. Right? And I see, once again, this was end of day. I just love seeing how price reacts in between. But then price comes right up to previous day high. We get that indecision, right? Take the market short, giving us a perfect area to get out of the trade if it goes against us. Price starts to sink, rips right down into end of day. Did I get the best exit? No. Did I only make 18% on this trade? Yeah. Do I really care? No. Beautiful trade. Loved it. You know what I mean? So it's like, once again, I'm at a point in my trading where I'm really trying to enter, exit, targets. You know what I mean? That's what I want you guys to do, is really dive into where you need to improve and then make a trading goal around that, right? So those are my only.
Yeah, to me, that's the definition of rewarding yourself.
Yes.
Like, you saw break and retest. You were trading with structure. You had a specific entry and you had a specific exit. You cannot control how fast the move happens. You cannot control if volume is going to suddenly come in and your premiums are going to go sky high.
Yeah.
But what you can control are those tiny factors. And if you did that, you have to reward yourself.
Yeah.
And there is no point looking. If you followed all of your steps, you entered without hesitation and reservation, the profit that the market gives you is not up to you.
Right.
All you can control is your actual actions. And so, this is what's going to happen. If you are structure-based and process-based, you're going to have to be okay with seeing the market move past your, initial target and go further in your direction. But you stuck to your process, and that is far more important than capturing the largest move of the day.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like, this didn't even bother me. Like, yeah, of course, no doubt. It sunk. Who cared? You know what I mean? And then we got this nice little move off end of day here that ended up selling off. And what I really like to point out here and is like, I mean, Darren just said it perfectly. We cannot control what happens, like the way price moves, how much money we make. You could always, put it this way, you could always find a better trade, right? But we can't go into the day thinking that way, right? If we do, we're going to end up trading, inconsistent. This is a more consistent approach where it's like, okay, I identified structure, conditions, clear entries, clear exits. Boom. That was a win for me. Big win. And that's the sort of trading we want to see, right? This ended up making a pretty good move off end of day. I didn't take it because we kept getting these like little okey dokes, right? It would go above. This is where the 5 minutes kind of been helping me as well. But once again, just a really good day right there.
I got smacked this day. So I placed one trade exactly that short that you just took right there.
Oh yeah.
Except so I'm walking from building to building throughout the day, and my Wi-Fi changes, so I need to just put my stop in, my hard stop in, and just go where I need to go. And I check back and see what happened, and basically this stopped me out because the move took so damn long to happen that time decay came in and stopped me out at literally the worst spot, and then proceeded to rip down. Yeah, and that's just what happens,
Yeah.
And this is what we call accepting the risk of your trade. If you accept it, you fully accept that the trade is going to move all the way to your stop. It's going to stop you out, and it does not matter what happens after that. You have to be completely okay with your trade moving against you and you losing all the money that, up to your stop loss, to your hard stop.
Yep.
And as painful as that was, that was the structure that I was following that day.
Yep.
In an ideal scenario, maybe I would have been sitting by my computer watching, cues for validation or confirmation, and maybe I wouldn't have stopped out. But who knows? That's in an alternate universe. What happened was I put my hard stop in. I'm walking around. I can't watch the charts all day, and that's what happened. So,
And you know what?
It happens to me too.
And Devo, it's better to stop out than to adjust your stop. You know what I mean? How many times I can't help but think that there's been times where I adjusted my hard stop, right? And the trade ended up going in my favor. Then next time I'm in a trade, adjust my hard stop, and it doesn't go in my favor, and then I lose more money, right? So it's like almost like you paid a little price this day, right? Whatever X amount. And all what it did was instill the fortitude in your brain that you follow process. You know what I mean? Like, and people may think that's like wishy-washy and like, but listen, I've traded inconsistently and I've traded consistently. Consistently, you must follow process. There is no other way to see consistent results in this market. None. I don't care how lucky, good you get. It does not matter. If you cannot stop out at 30% right here because you're at 30%, if you're willing to risk it just a little more, you're going to risk it on larger amounts. You're not going to see consistent results. Process is everything. So that's a win in my book. You followed everything. Notice our criteria has nothing to do about, it was a profitable trade. Because once again, we can't control it. That does hurt, though. I've been there. But it definitely does hurt. Was that your only trade?
What's more important to me is solidifying,
the belief.
I myself do the right thing, and that I did. In the long term, these seem like you zoom out and say, was this behavior that I want to exhibit on my next 100 trades?
Exactly. Right? I like how you said, I proved myself, I could trust myself and act on my decisions. That's massive. If you can build conviction in yourself, learn to trust yourself and go, hey, listen, I don't know what the market's going to bring today, but I do know I'm not going to lose 30%. I'm not going to make an irrational decision, right? If we can get rid of all that indecisiveness and all that bullshit, then it's just a matter of time, my friend. You know what I mean? So that's the goal. 100%. This day right here, this was a challenge. This was a challenging day for me. I took one trade, and that was it. And I took an L on that trade. So I was at a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I was not able to trade the open. But if I would have definitely played this open print retest. Now, to really flesh this trade out properly, we would have to go through because my pre-market plan was to keep an eye on this 4.5650 level, right? This level was critical. Now, this is what I was looking at the 1 hour, right? So I was going into this day like this. If we can hold this level, I'm super bullish. If we can't, I'm super bearish. Now, this goes back to what me and Darren talk about constantly with learning to trust yourself and learning to follow your pre-market plan. It is critical because I didn't this day. Instead, 4.5658, right? That's the level I was looking at to determine a bullish scenario or a bearish scenario. So you can see pre-market, we rallied above this level and found acceptance, right? We rallied. Now, instead of focusing on this level, I like that break and retest that open print, right? You have to ask yourself, are you willing to make a short play here because it's off open print, or are you going to stay focused on your pre-market plan, right? Because this was a key critical level. Now, you can see buyers did not let go of this level. Buyers continue to hold the level. They continue to show acceptance at this level. Price rallies out of this level, right? Like no other. And then price comes down below open, comes below open print. I go for a short play, get stomped out. That was it for me. But look at how that level held. It was really, these are different sort of days, right? We're really far away from end of day. Large gap up. Usually you get the gap fill, but that was not the case. But that was the only trade for me. Once again, I'm moving to a part in my trading where if I take a setup that I'm not happy with, I am done for the day. That's it. Finished. And this is a setup I really am not too happy with, because the only reason I don't like this trade is it went against my bullish scenario and my pre-market plan. That's it. I mean, a nice break and retest off open print, etc. But yeah,
I took that same trade, man, and I thought the exact same thing. And honestly, this is a great example of how so quickly, a couple red candles can cause us to experience fear, and we can switch up our process based on that emotion. So that's exactly what it did this day. If you look at the 2-minute, which is what I was watching, we saw 4 candles, extremely bearish, knifing down.
Yeah.
And those candles did not invalidate the pre-market plan. They didn't at all.
Yeah.
And they already made me bearish before the plan was invalidated. So if anybody else, and this is for me too, going forward, if you have a couple candles that are causing you to feel some type of way, either bullish or bearish, maybe you're fearful about some plan or something happening that's not congruent with what you want the market to do, stop, zoom out, and look at your pre-market plan and ask yourself, are conditions overall being changed? And if they're not, then what you're experiencing is just emotions, and you don't necessarily need to act on them. And if I had just zoomed out here, I would have saved myself a lot of grief. I stopped out. I had a hard stop in.
Right. Yeah.
But honestly, if you zoom out, and I took pre-market data off, and I just smacked my.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I was so focused on that gap fill. I was so focused on the gap fill that I let it cloud my judgment on everything. And once again, another thing I want to point out is look at that 9-day EMA again, right? Like massive move below it. We're coming up for a retest at open print. We're super far away from the 9-day EMA, right? And it's like the market's gonna, there's a high chance the market's gonna at least level out here. So, food for thought, right? And then at that level, right, going back to where we were talking about stop outs, Darren.
Yeah.
If we were able to, if I was able to remain patient and be like, okay, who's going to defend open print here? Yeah, we fell below it, but who's going to defend it? At what point are sellers going to stop out? Bam, this candle right here. Perfect entry for a long play. Boom.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
So that's definitely another one of my goals going into this week is like, instead of just hopping on the first, feel good trade we see, let's watch to see who defends it. And if it goes opposite of your break and retest or your structure, right, what's that telling you? And can you capitalize on it? Right. So, that was really, really good. Then Friday happened. Friday, bam, your boy took a short right here, got smoked. I couldn't have took a worse trade. Now
right before news.
And now think about it. I took a trade Tuesday with news, made bank. So that's what I was trying to do again. I was trying to use news for my favor, and I took the first break and retest I seen before it. So that's what I found out journaling last week or yesterday is I took the first setup before news that I thought would make the most sense and paid for it, right? And and once again, is this a good setup? Absolutely. I mean, we're breaking retesting off of end of day, right? That's a we're end of days right here. It's definitely a significant level pre-market. I was looking for buyers to defend it for longs, and they didn't. Now, there's a couple different things too that played a factor. Would I take this trade again? Honestly, yeah, this isn't a bad trade.
I think I would.
Yeah,
I think I would too.
And the only place I got hurt here was playing around news. So it's like, structure was formed, invalidated, HPT pattern, go short, bam, this thing ripped about $1 in a second. It triggered my hard stop, but it's just not where I wanted. Thankfully, I entered this with low size. Otherwise, this would have really hurt. Lost it was almost 50% on this trade. It was bad. But at the same time, right, like I handled everything I could. I put myself in the best scenario I could based on market conditions and did everything I could. So am I upset with this trade? Absolutely not. I traded my edge, traded my strategy. Did it hurt? Yeah. It's going to happen. Good. Because when things get hard, we see who we truly are. We see our true mistakes. You know what I mean? So other than trying to play off of a news catalyst, this wasn't a bad trade. I do chalk up trying to capture a massive move on fear. Or I'm sorry, on greed.
But, we rejected pre-market high, and we did a GBI below end of day.
Yeah.
And after that, we got another red candle.
Yeah.
This is all, like, if this was nowhere near news, I think this would be a completely different scenario.
Absolutely.
I really do think that since it was around previous day high and pre-market high, this was really great analysis for a trade.
Yeah.
However, it was around news, and it's just always risky around news.
Yeah.
So ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. 100%. Because I went through it. I'm like, dude, this is definitely a good trade. I'm not upset about it whatsoever.
Yep.
Then I took this guy. I mean, look at how beautiful that looks. I mean, that's, very clutch break and retest off end of day. And then it just came through and held structure. And that's going to happen. I mean, look, we reject previous day high. We reject end of day. We come up for a retest and go short. Bing. It just is what it is. Once again, we cannot we can't control price action. There's no point in even trying. So you got to ask yourself, look at all your losing trades. Are they a result of your execution of things you can control, or are they a result of price action? Right? So once again, that's definitely another trade I would take. It's right off. I mean, we got pre-market high right below it. That's what I ended up holding. But that was pretty much it. And Darren, did you take any other trades this day or no?
I did not. I realized my analysis was wrong in the morning. I almost hopped in that short play, and I did not. And as soon as it ripped against me, I basically realized that, well, first of all, it was a news day.
Yeah.
So when I realized that my analysis was wrong and news ripped against me, I said, I'm not fucking with news today. And so I did not trade for the rest of the day. I just worked on some other projects that I had, and I just saw the violent moves for news, and I was like, all right, if my plan is going to be skewed by news, I don't want to ruin my perception. I don't want to do anything stupid, so I did not put on any trades on Friday.
Yeah, I love that. I salute that, honestly, because it's really important to do. I ended up putting on one more off open print here. My entry was a little different, though. My entry was on this candle. We found, so if you can see, price comes into open print. We get this, really nice basing candle, and then price rips up to 45871, and this is where I have to ask myself, right? Because look at the structure here. This is bearish structure. I was really bullish because open print just held very well, and now I'm going, okay, at what point am I willing to trade with these buyers, right? And this is where it goes back to a chart pattern in a zone, right? We're getting a flag at a critical level, right? Yes, end of days right there. I wasn't really going for a large move, even I ended up catching a large move, but this is where it's like I could always find a reason to talk myself out of a trade. End of day, we're below it, previous day highs right there. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Conditions bullish. Where can I get in with low risk? Right? It would have literally been below this candle. Or maybe structure right here. And I'm catching all right move up to the highs. So once again, just going through your journal, figuring out what you need to work on is so critical, right? Like we could sit here, talk analysis, but I think everybody knows how strong me and Darren go with diving into yourself, where you're failing, where you're struggling is super important. So that's this weekend, guys. Use it as an opportunity to really dive into the charts, figure out where it is you're failing, and be like, okay, how can I restructure my approach to the market this week to not make these decisions, right? Like a perfect example with taking profits. I was holding them way too long. So now when I hit target, at times I may just take them. Depends on how extended. There's a lot of variables there, but come up with a more structured approach based on where you're lacking. It's the only way you're going to make any progress in this game. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. Listen, Darren, I'm gonna let you turn over your screen. Darren's gonna break down some trades with you guys, or if you guys want to break down some trades with him, I need to head out. So I hope everybody has a phenomenal weekend. All right, send me a message if you need me, and I will see you guys Monday.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Have a good weekend, and I'll catch you Monday.
All right, guys.
All right, see ya. So I just want to be here. If you guys have any questions, recap trades. I'll show you the trades I took.
This from my boy Wes Watson, right? He goes, 99% of people are gonna wake up for a job, something that they need in their purpose, right? A little bit of money, right? 1% of people are gonna wake up to work on themselves, right? They're gonna wake up early to dive into personal development, read, journal, get in the gym, right? Do something that builds structure, that builds discipline. That hit me so hard because I started to realize I had so many bad and negative habits that were putting me exactly where I was, and I couldn't figure out why I was where I was. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get ahead. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't achieve the sort of results I was looking for in the market, right? And then I started to realize it's my habits, it's my outlook, it's my core beliefs, right? So make a decision. Wake up early for yourself. Fucking Jack! This from my boy Wes Watson, right? He goes, 99% of people are gonna wake up for a job, some up, Dan? Where's Seth? Oh, there she is. What up, baby?